Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where real estate meets real life skills. Hosted by Andrea and Alissa Bicar, each episode features investors turning their unique edge into long-term rental success.
Hello and welcome to the Built for This podcast. I am your esteemed co-host, Alissa Bicar, consultress. These conversations are between Andrea Lane, the fearless real estate investor, and I. And sometimes we like to be just co-hosts here, bringing you wisdom from the road traveled in real estate investment. So today, Andrea and I want to talk to you a little bit about asset management versus property management, because this is a topic that's near and dear to all real estate investors' hearts. You think I have a rental property, I need property management, whether that's you or somebody else. But very rarely do people talk about the topic behind the topic. And so, Andrea, I'm going to ask you, because you are, a wise one here. What's the difference between asset management and property management, and why should they care?
Well, you absolutely should care because your asset management is maintaining the building. It's maintaining the structures so that you can continue to do business. Whereas property management is day-to-day running, making sure your tenants are there, your tenants are being satisfied, their complaints are being answered. And although they do walkthroughs of houses, depending upon your agreement, if you have a property manager, they're not necessarily looking for the same things you are. They're looking to see, is the tenant taking care of the property the way you want? Are they doing what they said they'll do in their lease? Asset management is, what shape is the house in today? When were things installed? How often do I need to change my water heater? When do I want to plan to do it? That's a very big difference from looking at a water heater and saying, yeah, it looks fine and nobody's complaining, so I'm not going to do anything about it.
Mm.
That's a property management issue versus an asset management where, that hot water heater was installed 6 years ago. How long is the lifespan on a water heater? Not that long. What happens when it breaks? You have a flood. So when do you want to prepare to replace it?
Yeah, so it's thinking a little bit further ahead than the day-to-day management. So when we talk about building your portfolio like a business, it's more like you have an operations team that answers the phone, that sends out emails, that does the doing of the business. And that's kind of what you're saying about property management. And then there's the other side about planning for the growth, the strategic vision, staying proactive, staying ahead of things that could and should need attention down the pike, and creating a system for creating attention and care of those things too. So at least this is what I'm hearing. And I'm one of the, being a real estate investor, this is one of the topics that I'm like, am I doing it right? It's a place where I feel sometimes like I don't know if I'm going about this the right way, because if it feels like fire drills, like, oh, this bill came in, it has to get paid, or I got this notification, or we need to replace a fridge because someone's having an issue, that is very clearly what you talked about is property management.
100%.
And then, so tell me a little bit more, like, how do I start to think about this, not only as preparing to create, like to take care of the building, but to create the systems behind caring for the building? What should we be thinking about? What questions should we be asking
So
ourselves?
when you buy a property, you should have a spreadsheet about that property. It should tell you all the information, how, the square foot, how big it is. If it's a multifamily, you have each unit separated. What are you going to get in rent? What do you get in rent? Is it moved in, moved out? That's all your property management. In addition, you have to know who's paying the bills, who's paying the utilities. If it's you, one of the things that as a property manager you want to make sure is you're tracking how much that's costing you. And at the end of the year, you want to make sure that that asset, if it needs something, you're ready for it. When you buy the property, you want to gather information from the seller. In many cases, you can. If you're buying a foreclosure, you're probably not going to get any of this information. But when was the heating installed? What type of heating does it have? Same thing with air conditioning. And I'm saying HVAC to make it easy. But if they installed the HVAC system back in February 10 years ago, what's the lifespan on it? But for buying a property, you're just going to gather the information, right? When was the hot water heater installed? When was the roof installed? And that's becoming a very much a important question because your insurance company wants to know that, right? So when were the major things done? Did they replace all the windows in the house? Right? When did they do a major renovation? All of that information should be gathered when you're purchasing a property.
Mm.
And I love spreadsheets. Everything is on a spreadsheet. If you know me and you do any work with me at all, I'm going to give you a spreadsheet for something because that's the way I work.
This
I
is
am not a big application person. I don't have a million apps on my phone and go here for this and there for that. I love my spreadsheets. So my spreadsheet has all the information when I start. What's the state the house is in today?
Mhm.
Now, asset management, no, property management, they may go to the house more than once because you may have issues with the house and they have to fix a plumbing issue or you have to. I use property managers, so I always speak as if a property manager is going to do it. Um, but the property manager is going to go to the house and fix that issue. They're not going to review the house. So I 100% believe you should have a minimum of 1 year walkthrough. And if you can, you should walk through the property with your property manager. You're not necessarily looking at the same things. When you walk through the property as a property manager, you're looking to see if anything that the tenant's not keeping things clean. And maybe you look under the sink to see if there's a leak. And maybe you don't because it's closed and nobody's complaining about it, right? As a property manager, that's what you're going to look at. As an asset manager, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to look at the landscape. Do trees need to be cut? Do bushes need to be removed? What is going on here that I didn't see last year that I need to fix? Right? Um, if you have a shed or you have a garage, is everything in working order? Is something broken that you need to fix? People don't look as a property manager at your garage unless it's attached to the house. That's like an afterthought. Unless the door's off its hinges, it's never reviewed. So walk through your garage or your sheds, make sure it's in good shape. If you need to fix something, make a note of it. Then you walk through your house. You walk through the house on this kind of walkthrough, like you walk through it when you purchase a home. So when I do walkthroughs of a home, I start at the top and I work down. So I look in the attic. If I can walk up, I walk in the attic. If it's not finished, you can look at the roof on the inside eaves. That can tell you a lot about what's going on in the roof without being able to see outside, right? When you walk outside, you look to see how the roof looks. You look to see the siding is okay, the porches are okay, nothing's broken. Um, your property manager, they may look to see that there's no broken boards on your porch because somebody will get hurt. They're not looking to see, is it painted? Does it need to be restained?
I am hearing reactive versus protective. As a
100%.
property manager, you want to fix what's broken and keep it livable. As an asset manager, you want to protect your investment by protecting the life and the longevity. So if there is a small leak in said eaves, you'll be able to spot it before it becomes a rotten, broken through roof. And so I want to just bring this full circle here for our audience is, you want to absolutely, if you want access to Andrea, she does a real estate investor intensive. It's an 8-week course where she brings you through systems like this, questions that we don't assume we know how to ask, so that you can be more proactive and protective about the things you're investing in. And that's really, not only is it asset management, you're preserving your investment too. So I heard start from the top down, look at things as if you were going to purchase it again. So you will build a new punch list around things you didn't recognize the first time, but you're also walking through with the property manager while their eyes are on the day-to-day liability control. Your eyes are on the year-to-year asset protection. And so as we conclude here, these are the types of things you should be thinking about as a landlord, as someone who's invested in rental properties, whether that's short term, mid-term, or long term. We're giving you best practices here about how to keep the investment that you made operating profitably and on purpose, so that you don't get caught in reactivity mode. Because as an asset manager, being reactive costs you a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money. I mean, can you give us an example about something you should have caught as an asset manager on your investment road, Andrea, that cost you dearly, that made you go, oop, you know what? I'm going to be more proactive about
Well,
this.
I'm going to go back 40 something years, a long time ago, in one of my first properties, I did not know about water heaters, which is why I keep talking about them in particular.
Yeah.
I did not recognize um, that they have a life because I didn't know, and that the life, when it breaks, it's a problem. If you have things in the basement, if that's where your water heater is, they're all ruined. So it becomes a bigger liability for not only replace the water heater, but what else got damaged, right?
Mm.
So by knowing when a water heater has been installed, and let's say I give a water heater 6 years, well, maybe on the fifth year, ninth month, I'm going to say it's time to reinstall a water heater. So that doesn't happen. So I'm proactively guarding my property,
Mhm.
making sure that that's not something a tenant's going to look at, not something your property managers necessarily. Sometimes you have a really good one who looks at them, but not often.
Yeah. So
So
we have best practices is not only your mechanicals, but the bones, right? The good bones that you bought, are they still good bones? Are your mechanicals still good mechanicals? And what is their lifeline? And creating, a timeline. So inside of the intensive, this is a spreadsheet that you will get from Andrea about how to look at these things and how to project your timeline of when you do your walkthrough in 2 years from now. Here's what you need to do. So Andrea, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. To get in touch with us, as always, please drop us a line at teams@ownyouриncome.co. You can get a direct line access to both of us. But if you're interested in the real estate investor intensive, please just send us a message. Let us know intensive. We have a downloadable free PDF for you to manage all 7 systems that are needed at a 30,000-foot view in your real estate investment business. This is here on the ground floor. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your wisdom. And if you're watching this on the broadcast on YouTube, or you're listening on one of our podcast streaming platforms, stay tuned. We have another amazing episode queued up for you right after this. Don't go away.
This wraps another episode of Built for This. If you're a real estate investor with a unique edge, apply to join us at builtforthisshow.com/guest.